Congratulations! If you're watching this video, it means that you're a seller and you're an escrow. We'd like to take a few minutes to go over the disclosures that are involved in the process. Remember, nothing substitutes for a thorough reading and review, but we'd like to give you some general directions. So let's get started.
Remember, the overarching theme is if you know it, disclose it. If you've repaired it, improved it, or replaced it, let the buyer know. There'll be a couple forms that are specific to your property and you will need to fill those out. Others are generic and will apply to all properties, and your transactional coordinator will just upload those for your signature. Let's get started with the ones that are specific to your property and need to be filled out.
This document is your affiliated business arrangement disclosure. The Bureau of Real Estate, sometimes called the Department of Real Estate, requires that we disclose different fees that may be involved in your transaction. This will include escrow fees if we are using our escrow. It will also include fees that are not going to apply to your transaction. As a seller, for example, you're never going to have appraisal fees, but this disclosure is just a general disclosure for all types of transactions that we may be involved in. So don't worry if you see fees on there that don't look like they apply to you. They may not.
Okay, the first disclosure that is specific to your property is called a transfer disclosure statement. The first page is just about some of the features that you have in your property. You'll check all of them that apply to your specific house. On page 2 are a series of questions that they ask about your property again. If you answer yes to any of them, just put the little explanation down here in the box and you're all finished with that one.
The next document that we're going to discuss is called the Statewide Buyer or Seller Advisory. Now this one goes over in a lot of detail the type of inspections that a buyer can do. For example, a septic inspection, which may or may not apply to your property. So as the seller, that part's not as important to you, but it does remind you as a seller of the overarching theme, which is, if you know it, please disclose it.
The next one that is specific to your property is called the SPQ, or the Cellar Property Questionnaire. This one goes through simple questions like, has anybody died in your property? And again, it deals with repairs or anything that you may have fixed up. It's a series of yes and no questions all the way through, and if any of them are marked yes, you want to go down to that same box and put a little explanation in that little area that's provided for you.
Looking at the next disclosure, the water conserving plumbing fixtures and carbon monoxide detector disclosure. Now this one basically says that overall in California, if you do any significant improvements, you may have to switch over to water conserving fixtures as part of that improvement. So say you're going to add on 10% or more to the house at some point in time, you may have to switch to those fixtures. The other thing that it tells us, somewhat unrelated but in the same disclosure, is that you have to have carbon monoxide detectors in your home. Where do those go? You have to have one on every floor, regardless of whether you have any living space in it. So if you have a 2-story home, you gotta have 2 of them. If you have a 2-story plus a basement and there's a bedroom down there, you gotta have 3 of them. So make sure you have one on every level.
The next one is not specific to your home. This is a general form. It's called an AVID, Agent Visual Inspection Disclosure. This is where the agent comes through your house and does a visual inspection of your house. Anything that they see, they don't move any furniture. It's very non-invasive. All they do is check boxes that they can visually see just by walking around.
So this next document is your receipt for your earthquake hazard book. Again, this is nothing that's specific to your property. This is a general booklet that will be emailed to you by your transaction coordinator. It's written by the state of California, and it just goes over basic safety procedures in the state of California. It's given to both the buyer and the seller.
The next one is water heater and smoke detector statement of compliance. What this is it makes sure that your water heater is double strapped and your smoke detectors now have to have a 10-year enclosed battery. The next one is a natural hazard disclosure statement. This one is specific to your area, and it lets you know if you're in a flood area or if you're in any earthquake faults. Another one is a market conditions advisory. This one just lets you know that the market does go up and down. and that there are 3 types of contingencies. There's a loan contingency, an appraisal contingency, and an inspection contingency.
Congratulations. Remember that you can always reach out to your agent or to our office if you need further explanation or details on any of these disclosures.